and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Sana Mazim on behalf of Pakistani American Friends of Atlanta. Welcome to a conversation with Aisha Yaqoob Mahmood, the Executive Director of Asian American Advocacy Fund. Aisha, welcome.
Thank you, Sana. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here, Aisha. Before we get started, I'd like you guys to know that Aisha is a former candidate for the State House in Gwinnett County. In her role as the executive director, she works with elected officials right now as we speak, and she helps them make decisions that impact the lives of Pakistanis as well as other immigrant families. So, Aisha, I can't tell you, I've looked forward to talking to you all this time. And, you know, the quarantine is the best time because we don't have to wear masks and we can do this through Zoom. So thank you again for being here. Aisha, today we'd like to hear from you about the importance of early voting and, of course, the importance of early voting for Pakistani Americans. But before we do that, we'd like to know a little bit more about you and your role as the executive director. Would you like to share?
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, as many of you probably already know, I have been the person in the community that is either registering people to vote or trying to get them out to vote for different candidates or just in general to get them out to vote each election cycle. And that's no different this year. This year, I'm really focused on making sure that our Asian American communities, especially our Pakistani Americans and other South Asians, are really getting out to vote and taking advantage of all of the opportunities to vote early. Now, it's no surprise that some of our families take advantage of Desi Standard Time, and they always want to go vote at the last minute or very late. But this year, I'm really going to make the appeal to everyone not to wait till the last minute and go ahead and vote now. I know that they say Election Day is November 3rd, but Election Day has already started. Election Day started on September 18th when people started receiving their absentee ballots. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about how you can go vote early. But honestly, this election cycle is so important for so many different reasons. I know everyone might have their motivations to go vote for what's happening at the national level with Trump and Biden, but really for me, the importance is about what's happening here locally in Gwinnett County and Cobb County, wherever you live. There are so many important races that can be decided with just a handful of votes. So for people that live in places like Gwinnett County, Fulton County, DeKalb, any of these counties have really important elections that can really change the way that our families live here. I know there's been a lot of frustration this year about how schools are coming back after COVID and how the teachers are responding and how students are trying to figure out how to adjust to a post-COVID or, you know, in the middle of COVID experience while they're in school. And a lot of those decisions are made directly by elected school board members. And in every single county in the metro area this year, there are important school board elections that you can really make a big impact in. And these elections are not as politicized as Trump versus Biden, but they're so important because you can help elect people who really want the best for your children, want the best for the staff and the faculty, and want to make sure everyone stays safe. In addition to that, we're going to be electing we're going to be able to elect or re-elect members of the state legislature across the state of Georgia who will make important decisions about the future of healthcare expansion, the future of the state's economy and how we can really recover from the COVID-19 crisis. And then the most important thing that I'm sure people have been hearing about is we have 2 U.S. Senate elections in Georgia this year. So I'm sure you've been hearing about Ossoff and Purdue. They're battling for the first U.S. Senate election race, which is the main one that you're probably hearing about. But I want to bring attention to the second U.S. Senate race that we also have, and that is the U.S. Senate special election to replace Senator Johnny Isakson, who retired last year. Now, you may be hearing names like Loeffler and Collins and Warnock and maybe up to 19 other names because there are 22 people running for that seat. And that seat is so important because it can really change the face of leadership here in Georgia and in the Senate in Washington. So I just want to make sure that people understand that there's 2 different Senate elections this year, and Georgia is the only state in the entire country that has those 2 U.S. Senate seats. And so that really makes us stand out. There's so much attention on Georgia. There's so much focus on what happens in the Senate because then they can control what happens with Supreme Court nominations and so many other really important issues. And, we in Georgia really have the ability to make those important changes. So those are just a couple of the really important things that I wanted to focus on, but I'm happy to chat more as well.
You brought up some amazing points. We have such a huge opportunity. We have two opportunities, really. And so to not capitalize on that would be just simply foolish, right? So thank you for sharing that. We didn't know, I didn't know that there was such a huge difference between Georgia and a huge opportunity that we have compared to other states. So we definitely need to take advantage of that. Aisha, why is it important for Pakistani Americans to vote early?
I just want to say again, I think everyone should vote early, but especially Pakistani Americans, because we know that come election day, there's going to be so many issues at the polls. If you followed the news this summer, you saw that in the primaries, we had so many issues. We had some polling locations that had lines up to 5 hours long. Even just yesterday when early voting started, people were waiting in line for so long. And it's just because of so many issues that are coming up in this election cycle that can be avoided if people just go and vote early. So what I'm asking you all is, either vote by mail. It's not too late to request your absentee ballot. I can get the link over to you guys. We can post it in the description or when this video gets posted. But my recommendation to everyone is just to go vote early in person. And why we really push that is because you really can go vote at any early voting location in your county. So if you want to go with your aunt, uncle, your kids that might live in another home, but they're still in the county, you all can go vote together and you don't have to go to your assigned polling location. So as long as you're in your county, you can go to any location that's available in your county. And I can put the link over here too, so you guys can see those locations. But what we're really seeing is people that wait till election day, there's so many issues that come up, whether it's about making sure that you're at the right polling location, that your driver's license, that your ID gets accepted, or if there's just random issues that come up, there's so little time to fix those issues if you wait until election day. So we recommend just get it out of the way. It's the easiest way to make sure that your vote is counted, to go and vote early, because then you can actually see that your vote was accepted, and then you can just sit back and wait for the results after election day. And then one more thing I always like to put out there is, I'm sure everybody is getting calls and text messages and emails about voting and voting for this candidate or voting for that candidate. A little trick is, if you vote early, most of the time they'll take you off of their lists because they know you've already voted. So if you want to stop getting those text messages, just go ahead and vote early, and hopefully you'll stop getting those messages.
You heard that, guys.
Yeah.
You don't want any more text messages.
Yeah.
Literally, I've been bombarded on a daily basis, as I'm sure you have. Yeah. We're getting so much junk mail, even in the mail. I have never felt this overwhelmed by candidates in any past election as I have in this one, for good reasons.
Well, that's what, and that's because Georgia is finally on the map as a battleground state. That's what happens when there's so much attention for our Senate races, even for the presidential race. We have the real ability to make change here, and people are starting to recognize that. And I think it's a good thing that our communities, Pakistanis, Asian Americans, are getting calls and text messages and mail, because 5 years ago, no one even talked to us. No one even thought that we were going to be voting or wanted us to vote. And now we have people trying to recruit our votes every day. And I think that just shows the power of our community and the power of our votes.
That's so true. We were almost non-existent even just a few years ago. So this is a huge win for our community and for really all immigrant communities. So that said, what group within our community would you say is least likely to either vote at all or not vote early? Yeah. How can we help engage this group?
So I would say that the group that is least likely to vote or vote early is the members of our community who maybe they don't speak English as well. Maybe they only speak English when they need to go to some government agency, but really just prefer to speak Urdu or Hindi or Kutchi or Mimni or whatever. They have their own language preference. But what we try to do is make sure that we're providing information about the election in different languages. And what I recommend to you all is, don't just discount, your parents, your elders, other older folks in your community. Take them with you to go vote and really take advantage of this early voting period. Because like I said before, as long as you live in the same county, you all can go vote together at one polling location. So go ahead and pick up the auntie or the uncle that goes to the masjid with you and take them to the polling location that's in your county, because if you wait till election day, you might not be voting at the same location that they are. So really make an effort. I know it's COVID. I know that the environment's not the safest for elderly people right now, but there are precautions in place. Everyone is supposed to wear a mask at the polls. A lot of the polling locations have, social distance requirements anyway. So take advantage of this time. Go in the middle of the week, especially if you're working from home. Go at lunchtime on a random Tuesday and take your auntie, uncle, friends to go vote, because they sometimes need the extra explanation of how to use the polling machines, or really just explaining to them what the different levels of the ballot are. Now, we do have some opportunities to provide interpretation at the polls on election day, but if people need support to get interpretation, even during early voting, just let us know and we can have someone actually meet them at the polls and walk them through the election process and help them actually cast their ballot. Only one language is currently available at Gwinnett County that is offered today. That's Spanish. So, no counties in our area offer interpretation in Urdu or Hindi or any other language, but we as volunteers can offer that. So take advantage of that opportunity for people who need translation. But again, I think that is the group that is least likely to vote, because no one is really talking to them, right? All these messages are usually coming in English, and if they don't understand it, they might be discarding those messages. So really make an extra effort this year to reach out to the elders in your community. And it doesn't even have to be just elders. It could be anybody who's recently become a citizen. Maybe they haven't learned English as well, but let's talk to people that maybe aren't receiving all the text messages and phone calls that we are.
So you offered some amazing tips. I didn't know that you could vote any location as long as you were in that county. So I went yesterday to check out what first day of early voting was like, and I almost felt like I could only go to the place that I'm supposed to go to. So I looked that up, right? Yeah. It's right down the street, but I could have gone really anywhere.
So on election day, you have to go to your assigned precinct, but during early voting, you can go any place in your county. So in Cobb County, I believe there's like 10, 11, 12 options where you can go. Gwinnett County has like 9 or 10 options. Fulton County has a lot of different options. So if you live in Johns Creek, Alpharetta, there's a lot of options near you. And really, I highly recommend taking advantage of those. And the really cool thing about some of these early voting options is if you go on those county websites, they will tell you what the wait time is. So if you're just, on waiting on like a random Thursday, you can check out like, okay, the wait time at this park is like 20 minutes. The wait time at this location is like an hour. So you can prioritize which location you want to go to based on how long the lines are. And usually, yesterday we saw a surge of people wanting to vote because it was the first day. I think things will quiet down in the next few days. But again, we do have early voting on weekends. So for people that are working, people that can't get off work during the week, take advantage of Saturday, Sunday. They are offered in all of our major counties, as well as October 24th, which is going to be the last Saturday of early voting, because there will not be early voting after October 30th.
Wow. So you mentioned people can get in touch with you if they needed an interpreter.
Yeah.
People get a hold of you, Aisha, for that and for any other service that you guys offer.
Well, I want to make sure that people can access our website. So that is the Asian American Advocacy Fund.org. It's a mouthful, so we'll make sure that the link is attached to this video. But they can also call or text our hotline. Now, this hotline goes directly to my team. We have people that can respond in Urdu, Hindi, whatever language really you need support in. And so you can call or text us at this number, 919-893. 8552. Again, 919-893 8552. So just text us any questions about voting. A lot of people have been texting us about, what happens if I don't get my absentee ballot in time? We can walk you through what to do. If you need questions about where you can go vote, you can text us there. But actually, if you go to our website right now, our homepage has a link directly to find your early voting location. So we're trying to make that very accessible. And then I know, a lot of people might have questions about who to vote for or what the questions are on your ballot. We have a lot of those resources on our page too, especially about, what are some of these really complicated questions that they ask you at the end of your ballot around, education funding, transit funding. There's also some constitutional amendments. So we have explainers on all of those on our website as well.
This has been a tremendous wealth of information, Aisha. Thank you so much. Just the other day, I was talking to someone who has a sister, and now she's able to vote for the first time. And she was mentioning how overwhelmed she was because she just didn't understand the questions on the ballots. It wasn't clear. So this is such a wonderful resource that you offer. Anybody can text, call, go to your website and learn about the candidates, learn about the questions. They can get an interpreter. They can find the locations. I mean, it's everything in one place. We really appreciate you doing this. And so this is organization, you said it's volunteer-based, right?
We have a lot of volunteers that work with us, but we also have paid staff that are working with us. And, we've specifically made sure that we have staff that speaks all these different languages because, we know how important it is to provide this information in people's native languages.
Yeah. So if someone was interested in volunteering, should they just go to your website and fill out a form? How does that?
We do have a link for volunteers on our form on our website directly, or they can just use the hotline and just text them and we can get them interested in volunteering there. One more thing that I wanted to mention is for any individuals who don't have access to a car or they need a ride to the polls, also text us because we do have some promo codes available for people who want to use Lyft. So we're able to give those out to people if they want to go to the polls. So use the text hotline to get in touch with that. Get in touch with us about that, so we can make sure that anyone who needs a ride can get a ride to the polls.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
So I have a really important question. This has been an amazing conversation, extremely enlightening for me, as I'm sure for everybody else. But what I want to know really is, what is that one thing you discovered this quarantine that you hadn't done up until now that you had an opportunity to do?
I really discovered that I like to cook a lot. My life was so busy before quarantine. I was always out. I was always driving. And I just never spent a lot of time cooking or really experimenting with different flavors and things like that. So I really got an opportunity to find new recipes and really, spend time like developing my own taste. And it's been really fun. And I'm glad that I had that time because now I don't feel like I even want to go eat out. I just want to make my own meals and really want to just take advantage of the skills that I have.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me this, what is your number one go-to dish now that you're kind of a cooking connoisseur?
I make Korean barbecue a lot. Like I have never really been able to have Korean barbecue, because it's not halal usually. But I have found some really good recipes and some side dishes that go really well with it. So that's been my go-to, and I've made it like 4 or 5 times in the last few months.
Well, I'll tell you this, that once this quarantine is over, guess who's coming over for some barbecue?
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Aisha, this has been a really good experience with you. Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience and your services that you offer right now during this time of early voting. We couldn't ask for more. Everybody, please get in touch with Aisha. We will post the information on how to reach her. Aisha, thank you so much on behalf of all of us at Pakistani American Friends of Atlanta. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. And I hope everyone gets out to vote. Remember, early voting ends October 30th. So as long as you go vote before October 30th, I will be very happy. If you have to vote on election day, that's okay too, but try to get it in before then.
You heard it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.